Good morning and welcome to the first episode of Daybreak. I'm your host, Jess Paterchek.
And I'm your host, Alex Grubbs. Today on Daybreak, we'll be updating you with the latest national news.
Informing you on the ups and downs in sports.
And what's happening all around the world.
All that and more, Daybreak starts now. Start your morning with us, only on Daybreak.
So Jess, I've been going outside and it's been windy, my umbrella keeps flying away, it's rainy. How has your week been with the whole weather?
Oh my goodness, it's been a train wreck. There's all this rain and wind, it's been a complete nightmare. Casey, why don't you tell us what's going on?
Jess, I'm afraid I don't have good news for you. It's a lot more of the same. If you look at the beginning of the week, we're going to get some clouds, but hopefully no rain on Monday. The sun will come out on Tuesday, but it won't warm up very much. Wednesday, cloudy. Thursday, cloudy. Friday, cloudy. And then the fun stuff happens on Saturday and Sunday, where we're looking at some showers and slightly higher temperatures. But that's what this week is looking like. Like I said, it's a lot of the same, but that's this time of year. It's better than snow. Back to you guys.
Oh my goodness. Now, what do you think? Like, all these clouds, all this rain, is it going to get any better for next week?
I hope so. You know, global warming's a thing, so maybe it'll bring the sunshine out. But I think people should stop complaining for this time of year because it's pretty warm in Pittsburgh for the month we're in.
So I guess it'll be fun. Maybe we'll get good weather. I'm hoping that we do, even though it'll probably be cold. Okay, let's see what's happening in the world of sports with Josh Krupp. Josh?
Thanks, Alex. We now have the matchup for Super Bowl 51, but the Steelers are not one of the two teams in the big game. The New England Patriots, who defeated the Steelers handily in the AFC Championship, will play the Atlanta Falcons from the NFC. Atlanta steamrolled Green Bay in their way to the NFC Championship game to set the stage for this year's biggest event in American sports. The Falcons haven't won the Super Bowl in team history, and they last appeared in the game in 1999 for Super Bowl 33. It's been a while since then. Tom Brady and the Patriots will try and win their fifth Super Bowl in their ninth appearance, passing the Steelers for the most appearances all time. Super Bowl 51 kicks off from Houston, Texas, Sunday at 6:30. Today, as we begin Super Bowl week, yesterday we had a pair of all-star games in the world of sports. The NFL played its annual Pro Bowl last night in Orlando, Florida. Steelers selections Marquise Pouncey, Le'Veon Bell, Ben Roethlisberger, and Antonio Brown didn't play in the game. Guard David DeCastro and linebacker Ryan Shazier did represent the black and gold for the AFC. The NHL also held its all-star game at the midpoint in its season. Penguins Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin were selected to the game, but Malkin missed due to injury. Crosby captained the Metropolitan Division in the 4-team tournament, and it was only the second all-star game he has ever played. Finally, Usain Bolt is down a gold medal. One of his teammates in the 4x100 relay was found guilty of doping. The International Olympic Committee stripped his team of the medal from the 2008 Beijing Olympics. More than 100 athletes tested positive in retests from the Beijing and London Olympics.
So, Josh, now with the Super Bowl predictions, what do you have? Who's going to win?
Jess, I think everybody in this region wants the Patriots to lose, right? They kicked the Steelers out of the playoffs, and we are all rooting for Atlanta, but you always don't get what you want, right? So I have the Patriots winning in this one, 38-24. When you get the number one offense and number one defense, it's usually the defense that wins. So I got the New England Patriots in this one.
Interesting prediction, Josh. Now, thank you very much. Since returning back to classes on January 9th, many exciting changes have been happening here on campus. One of these changes being the recent renovations of the Point Cafe and the residential dining facility, otherwise known as the RDF. It was in the works for quite some time before Point Pike administrators and Culinart representatives could work on the specifics. The renovation started at the end of the fall semester, December 19th to date. According to Point Park's academic calendar, it reopened for purchase on January 16th of 2017. According to the Dean of Students, Dean Palo, renovations for the cafe had been in the works for the university for about 14 years now. Some of the modifications include tearing down walls, moving around the various food stations, and including a new look for convenience items. If you haven't already checked it out, you can find the hours for both facilities via the Point Park University website.
Point Park students always embrace the idea of not having class. It was exciting news when word caught that Point Park would decide to officially recognize Martin Luther King Jr. Day as a holiday. This includes canceling class and making it a floating holiday for various faculty on campus. Many events happened in recognition of this achievement, including the nonviolent march that included parts of Point Park campus, a brunch held in the Lawrence Hall Ballroom, and a shuttle bus taking students down to Washington, D.C., and showing of the movie Selma in recognition of events. It's very exciting to see the changes being made and the importance emphasized on nonviolence and peaceful protests.
This past Monday, Point Park's chapter of United Student Government held a meeting with other USG senators to discuss campus budgeting and so forth. But this wasn't any other meeting. It featured a Q&A session with the mayor of Pittsburgh, Bill Peduto. It has here that Point Park students, faculty, and the general public could attend and ask questions regarding the future of Pittsburgh. In spite of Donald Trump becoming president of the United States, many questions and concerns were voiced regarding jobs in Pittsburgh with driverless cars from Uber, supporting the arts, putting an end to the heroin epidemic, and the Affordable Care Act being put to an end. When being questioned about the future, Peduto said, quote, "Advancements such as will allow Pittsburgh to do two things, innovate and make things," end quote. Although he did seem very wary of the future, he's very confident that innovation will continue to flood Pittsburgh in the future.
In other news, Point Park's Campus Activities Board held its second annual drag show earlier this week, featuring local drag celebrity Bambi Dearest. The event was held in the Lawrence Hall Ballroom, where students gathered to showcase their lip-syncing skills. Other personalities included Dixie Sherwood, Blade Matthews, Cindy C., Miss V, and more. These ladies performed throwback hits from the 90s and early 2000s, while also surprising students at the end with a mashup of Disney singles from the hit films The Lion King, Mulan, and so forth. According to Vice President of CAB, Louis Spanos, the first drag show CAB held was last year during the last bingo event of the year, They decided to continue on and bring it back this year, which was a hit. This was also an interactive audience portion of the evening where students got to volunteer and be personally instructed on how to walk the runway and slay as a true drag queen. Students and CAB members alike are very excited to partake in CAB's next outing. That's it for campus news. Coming up after the break, we have news around town and around the world.
That and more here on Daybreak.
We are a social people. We share our inspiration, wisdom, creations, and memories. We share what makes us laugh and what angers us. Built on the notion of a free flow of ideas, our country thrives on the freedom of speech. Without it, who would watch over our governing powers? And how would we share our history to make a difference for the future? It's this freedom to share that gives us a reason to listen.
All right, guys, any questions on scripts? We good to go?
Yep, right. Should be good.
All right, great. All right, yeah, camera 3, set up right there. Camera 2, use the ball when you're moving this around, but set up for the 2 shots, just right there. Weather, how we doing?
It go rain.
Perfect.
Welcome back to Daybreak. I'm Sarah Mackin with you.
The real host, Adrian Billon, was seen snuggled up against.
All right, prompter, we got everything in, we're good to go? Key Pro, everything loaded, we're good to go? All right, Tyler, any questions?
That shot looks fine.
3, 2, 1. Bring up camera 2. Open mics. Cue talent.
Good morning and welcome to Daybreak. I'm Blaine King.
Thanks for tuning in. I'm Aubrey Henkin.
And I'm Aaron Myler.
And this is Entertainment on Point.
Beyonce has surprised us again.
Kanye West just tweeted.
This was a huge weekend at the box office.
A fan favorite TV show just got canceled.
Guess what band is coming to the city? And the award went to...
But did you see her engagement ring?
Her outfit was awful.
I would fire her stylist. Tune in for all of your Hollywood gossip and pop culture news.
Entertainment on Point.
Get into the point of pop culture.
Yeah! Welcome back to Daybreak, and here's your city news. Over 25,000 people, mostly women, gathered in downtown Pittsburgh to march for women's equality on Saturday. The march started outside of the City-County building and ended in Market Square. Event organizers wrote on Facebook, quote, "We stand for religious freedom, human rights, and racial justice and reproductive justice," end quote. The permit for the event was originally for 400 demonstrators, but it far exceeded that number. This was one of the many marches that took place around the world. No arrests were made during the march.
A McKeesport woman pled guilty to third-degree murder of her estranged husband. 56-year-old Patricia Ketcher shot the back and killed the 52-year-old Christopher Ketcher in May 2015 after he obtained a protection from abuse order against her that same day. Earlier that day, Ketcher climbed through the window of the house after being locked outside in the McKeesport and went to bed. Around 7 p.m., her husband came home, waking her up and informing her of the PFA. Threatening to call police, she shot him, in the back. Ketcher is to serve up to 15 to 30 years in prison.
Pittsburghs Bicentennial caught a lot of traction in 2016, but turns out some costs for it were unsettled. On Tuesday, City Council agreed to cover the $250,000 still not paid. Per Mayor Bill Peduto's administration, private contributors covered most of the expenses at $1.5 million. The council voted 8-1 to approve this spending. The council also approved a bill to refrain the city to ask job applicants to share their past or current money compensation.
And the U.S. Supreme Court justice pick following the death of Antonin Scalia in February dominated the 2016 election. But now, under President Donald Trump, a Fox Chapel resident may be the one to fill it. 3rd District U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals Judge Thomas Hardiman is one of the 3 finalists for this seat. In 2003, former President George W. Bush nominated Hardiman to serve on the U.S. District Court for the Western District of Pennsylvania. President Trump will announce his nominee next week.
Now to take a look at what is going on across the country, let's go over to Taylor Fife at the Daybreak News Desk. Taylor?
The inauguration of America's 45th President Donald Trump took place on January 20th, 2017. Mike Pence was also commenced as the vice president during the ceremony that took place in Washington, D.C. According to reports by NBC, citizens were left with split views after the president delivered his address. While some Americans viewed the speech as hopeful and promising for a better America, others felt Trump painted a negative picture of America and attacked his predecessors. Following the inauguration, there was also much controversy from the Trump administration surrounding the amount of people who attended the inauguration. News outlets, Nielsen television ratings, and DC's metro system reported the number of people who attended and viewed the inauguration on TV was significantly lower than former President Obama's turnout. Trump's press secretary, Sean Spicer, falsely stated that the crowd was, quote, "the largest audience ever to witness an inauguration," end quote, and accused the media of reporting false crowd estimates to, quote, "lessen the enthusiasm of the inauguration," end quote. The eventful day ultimately concluded with the annual U.S. Capitol luncheon, the inaugural parade, and finally ended after 3 inaugural balls. Following the day after Trump's inauguration, the Women's March on Washington, as well as other protests and demonstrations against Trump's presidency, were held in D.C. and around the country. Pittsburgh held its very own Women's March downtown, where thousands of people marched for racial and gender equality, affordable health care, abortion rights, and voting rights.
Hey Taylor, I know that with these protests going around that no one actually got arrested here in Pittsburgh and in D.C. How has that been different than other protests that have gone on?
Well, Alex, I just feel that everyone who attended that march was really just focused on making sure their voices were heard by the public and getting their message across. And I think that was one of the driving forces that didn't allow any chaotic or crazy events to go on there. So that's all I have. Now let's send it back over to the couch.
Thanks, Taylor. After the break, we will talk about the UView trip to Washington, D.C.
That's right, Alex. We will be joined with some of those people who went.
See what's new here on Daybreak.
Here on the Pioneer Sideline, we talk a lot about sports in the studio, but it's beforehand when the conversation is actually interesting.
I hope I have enough powder on. I don't want to be too shiny on camera.
No, Trevor, I think it looks good every week you pull it off.
Ah, thanks, Phil. Man, your hair looks great tonight, by the way.
You sure? Yeah, I mean, I got a new haircut, but it looks all right.
Perfect.
Hey, guys.
Does this make me look fat?
No, you look great. You look good.
Yeah, Kyle. Thanks. I was really
Sports! Yeah!
Ever wanted to be behind the mic and have the world listening to your show on campus? Well, it's just as simple as joining WPPJ, Point Park's student-run radio station, located on the second floor of Lawrence Hall, right next to the dining services. Listeners can tune in using Point Park's website or through the TuneIn app by searching WPPJ. WPPJ welcomes any new DJs that want to get involved, so be heard. Do you have what it takes?
Well, no one showed up to the show tonight. Follow my lead. In 3, 2, take 2, open mics, cue talent. Good evening and welcome to UView News. I'm Josh Krupp. We begin with breaking news out of West Penn Hall. Ready, 3, take lower third. Traffic is backed up in the West Penn elevator line after elevator 1 broke down on the 7th floor. Lose lower third. Maintenance advises students to take the stairs to avoid delays. Ready, 2, take 2. In other news, no, you know what? I didn't sign up for this. We need crew. Join UView. Take alien hand transition.
Welcome back to Daybreak. We're here with Alex Popacek, the editor-in-chief of The Globe, and Vinny Ferranola, the general manager of WPPJ. They went to the inauguration with a media trip here at Point Park. Can you tell us a little about what went into that?
Sure. So a group of 13 of us from UView, WPPJ, and The Globe took a shuttle to Washington, D.C. We stayed overnight in a hotel in Laurel, Maryland, and then we got up at, it was close to 4 o'clock in the morning, caught the metro into town, and covered all different angles. We had photographers there, folks from WPPJ taking audio. I was there on the National Mall writing. You had people from all different backgrounds doing all sorts of different things, and it was really cool to see.
Oh my goodness. Now, so what exactly went into it in regards to preparations? Like, I know you guys must have had some sort of meetings. Like, how'd it go in terms of planning things out?
We did have a few meetings leading up to them. Josh Krupp headed most of the meetings. We had about 2 or 3 the week before just to organize everybody and make sure that we had transportation, which actually was arranged at the last minute. But yeah, it went off without any issues at all. So the preparation was taken care of very well. The Dean of Students, Dean Palo, really helped us out with making sure that everything went well. And our chaperone was great too. So the trip was fantastic.
So you two were in different places. I know you were at the Capitol and you're running around D.C. Can you tell me a little about your experience during the day?
Alex, you can go first.
Sure. So we started the day, like I said, getting into a line right off the metro, and then that line got into another line, which got into another line, which got us through security, and then around, I'm going to say 10 o'clock, I was on the National Mall, and we were able to interview different people, both supporters and protesters that were on the National Mall. And basically we got to hear from all different backgrounds, and it was the one notable thing I will say standing on that mall is looking out and just seeing the sea of people with those red Make America Great Again hats. It was something I will never forget.
And myself and Sam Morrison, both representatives for WPPJ, we stayed out of the National Mall for the most part because by the time we thought about actually going into the National Mall, the wait was easily over 2 or 3 hours, so there was no way of us seeing the inauguration either way. We met up with several protest groups throughout the day. They were more than willing to talk to us. The one problem we had during the day was finding people on the Trump supporter side to talk to us, which, you know, they don't want to talk to the media, and that's okay. But we did get a lot of good interviews with different Trump supporters. We interviewed Fight Back Pittsburgh, which was a group that brought down 3 bus loads of people from Pittsburgh. They brought 150 protesters, and just throughout the day, we really ran into a lot of colorful people and signs, and it was 12 hours on our feet, and it was great audio and great coverage all over.
That sounds like such a wonderful experience. Now, you were saying that there wasn't as many Trump supporters down there, so how do you think the numbers were affected, like, in this actual event?
What do you think, Alex?
Where I was, there were more supporters than protesters, but as soon as you got outside of the gates, the opposite was true. So it really depends on where you were, and I think part of it has to do, and when you look at attendance numbers and that kind of a thing, I think part of it also has to do with where Trump's base came from. And you look at, he was primarily got votes from like the middle part of America, and that's quite a distance to get to Washington D.C. So I think that might have had something to do with it, as well as, I mean, the weather was all right, and you know, it's just a trip to D.C. Who's going to do that in the middle of January? You never know which way is up. So I think that had something to do with it.
And you all put the stuff that you made online, right? Is that correct?
Yeah, if you go, shameless plug, ppuglobe.com, our top story, we call it the dawn of a new era, pun we came up with on Monday night. And if you click on that story, there's the story that we came up for with the Globe, audio from YouTube, audio from WPPJ, and then video, Facebook Live from the 3 or 4 reporters from UView that were going live from their different vantage points, all in one place.
And Vinny, you did an interview. Is that right?
Yes, I interviewed several people throughout the day, and I put together about a 5-minute piece about how the day went, how we started at 5 a.m., and then sort of a comprehensive just timeline of the day. But it is also on the Globe's website. Their website is in a little better shape than ours is currently. We are in the process of rebuilding. But thank you very much to Alex and all of the Globe folks for putting that together. And if you want to check it out, visit the Globe's website.
Again, you can catch them on ppuglobe.com/inauguration. Thanks for coming, guys.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having us on.
Okay, Daybreak is going to have a quick break where we have the latest news and entertainment.
Stay tuned to see what you need to know.
Did you know that Point Park has a cheerleading squad?
Don't stop.
Don't get it confused. Not only do our cheerleaders represent Point Park at regional and national competitions, but they also promote spirit and awareness of every sports team on campus. Come to any men's or women's varsity basketball game at home to watch the cheerleaders perform at halftime and cheer from the sidelines from the first jump ball to the final buzzer. Sports not your thing? You can catch the cheer team lead the crowd at the fall and spring pep rallies as well, or at several competitions around Pittsburgh each year. So what are you waiting for? Show the Point Park cheerleaders the support they show you.
Every human being has a purpose, has a dream to have their voices heard, no matter where they come from, no matter where they go. As an American, it is their right to have freedom of speech. I have a dream that one day this message will speak louder than words, that even the quietest voice will not go unnoticed. That is my dream. What is yours? For more information, visit www.freedomofspeechpsa.org.
Welcome back to Daybreak. I'm Royce Jones with your latest entertainment news. It's been over 3 months since Kim Kardashian West's horrific Paris robbery. The Paris prosecutor's office told NBC News earlier this week that 6 more people were arrested as suspects in the case. This makes a total of 10 people arrested for the incident. Sources are saying that the robbery was the result of an inside job. Allegedly, authorities were investigating her chauffeur, Michael Madar, as a suspect in the robbery. Madar has been said to be Kim Kardashian's driver the night of the incident. Unfortunately, the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree, for Madar's younger brother, Gary, is also an alleged suspect in West's dreadful Paris evening. In happier news, Disney released confirmation that the Pixar movies are in fact coexisting in the same digital world. It has been speculated for many years now that the connection between the Pixar films existed. However, these connections may not be easy to find. The connections can be seen through small subliminal messages strategically placed within the movies. Needless to say, we will all be paying a little bit closer attention every time we watch a Pixar film. It was a sad day this past Monday as rapper and VH1 star Remy Ma revealed to her fans that her and husband Papoose miscarried their first child. Remy and husband tied the knot back in 2008 while she was serving a 6-year sentence for 2 counts of assault. 2 years they've been planning on having a child since Remy's release from prison in 2014. As seen on the hit show Love and Hip Hop, Remy and her husband Pap have been going back and forth on the subject for quite a while now. The two seem to be staying as possible as they can given the current situation. The rapper took to Instagram saying, quote, "Many women like myself experience the same thing and don't have a strong partner by their side to say it will be all right," unquote. Our thoughts and prayers are with Remy and Papoose as they deal with this difficult time.
So Royce, I know since Kim K went through that robbery that she has dialed it back on her social media presence. Can you tell me a little about what went on with that?
Yeah, I'm sure that me and all of the other Kardashian fandom are pretty excited that Kim's made her triumphant return back to social media. We've seen Kim all over. We've seen her actually, she just took a recent trip to Dubai about a couple weeks ago. Her and a couple of her sisters took it back all the way to Dubai. She appeared in several different events there across the country. We've seen Kim toting around in LA, rocking her 30 inches that she's been rocking lately. We've seen Kim all out and about, especially since the tragic incident she had with her husband Kanye and his release from a psychiatric facility. So we're happy to see her back in good spirits. That's all I have for you this week. Let's go back to the dynamic duo, Alex and Jess.
That's it for Daybreak. Make sure to join us again next week for the news you need. I'm Jess Paterchak.
And I'm Alex Scrubs here on Daybreak, hoping your news is good news.